Hello and welcome to Nationwide. I am Dennis Adegunloye. Nigeria is hoping to expand its $1 billion trade volume with Japan as it also leads African agenda to the 2025 Tokyo International Conference on African Development, TICAD. President Bola Tinubu, in his first appearance, is leading Nigeria's delegation to the 9th edition of the conference opening on Wednesday in Yokohama. We'll bring you this report in the course of the bulletin. It's 19th of August and the world today marks Humanitarian Day, a time to honor those who help others and to stand with the millions of people whose lives hang in the balance. In this report, Ruth Aguele takes a look at government interventions in bridging gaps from humanitarian crises.
They're called to serve. Service for humanity, providing succor to vulnerable groups in war-torn regions or disaster-torn communities. Today, the world celebrates their doggedness, resilience in the face of adversity, as they continue to strive for a better society. It is the World Humanitarian Day, a day to recognize and honor humanitarian workers while promoting advocacy to meet humanitarian needs globally. For Nigeria, the growing concern for displacement that continues to breed as a result of natural and man-made disasters continues to wreak havoc across communities, poses concern for the humanitarian actors.
Nigeria is bleeding, particularly in this area of displacement. For a country to have 6.7 Nigerians being displaced, you know that the magnitude is alarming.
We have developed and redirected the focus of the ministry towards providing durable solutions. The National Social Registrar should not be a permanent destination. So also our IDP camps should not be where people remain there permanently. People staying in camp for more than 10 years, I don't think is acceptable.
This year's message on strengthening global solidarity and empowering local communities is a call to action for nations to adopt global approach by empowering communities to become self-reliant and build resilience, and the federal government, through the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, are taking deliberate steps to empower vulnerable groups through its diverse initiatives from skills to grants.
To ensure that, one, there is emergency intervention fund that Mr. President granted approval to augment what is currently ongoing, to also work with the international community like the European Union. In the next few days, we are going to reach out to almost 2,199,000 91,000 Nigerians with a rapid cash transfer that will be to the tune of almost 54 billion through the National Social Investment Program Agency, the NSPA, through our government enterprises and empowerment program. We are going to reach about 21,000 Nigerians who are going to be engaged during the dry season farming. They will be given a soft loan that is collateral free.
As the world celebrates this day, it is a call to action to protect those who really matters, who put their lives on the line. And for those who bear the brunt, it is a time for all to act for humanity. In Abuja, Ruth Aguele, NTA News.
And as resources are shrinking globally and malnutrition increasing, the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs has called on key players to support government efforts to save millions of lives in the face of humanitarian crises. This was emphasized during a stakeholders' engagements in partnership with the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction to mark activities in Abuja. Here again is Ruth Aguele.
It's been 22 years since the attack of aid workers in Baghdad that saw the birth of the World Humanitarian Day by the United Nations. And these humanitarian actors have gathered to not just honor aid workers, but advocate for the protection of humanitarian workers, strengthen collaborations, enhance interventions to mitigate shocks, and bridge gaps that put a strain on humanitarian interventions in Nigeria.
Humanitarian financing is collapsing. We must therefore transform a humanitarian operation to be more efficient, more transparent, and more accountable.
If we succeed in this reset, communities will not only recover, they will lead. Aid dependency will decline. Humanitarian emergencies will become the exception, not the norm.
Recognizing the challenges faced in meeting humanitarian needs across the country, the ministry reiterates federal government commitment to restore livelihoods to vulnerable groups to change the narrative through durable solutions.
The ministry is committed to developing humanitarian policies, providing effective coordination of national and international humanitarian intervention, and implementing emergency-related policies. We are working to ensure that efforts are inclusive, sustainable.
We urgently call for the protection of humanitarian workers.
A joint action by all parties, with a pledge to build safe societies through peace initiatives and commitment to prioritize life-saving humanitarian interventions and restore hope among vulnerable groups across the country. In Abuja, Ruth Aguele, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Defence Headquarters, in a significant move to strengthen civil-military relations and foster trust with host communities in Nigeria, has extended humanitarian and medical services to residents of Paduma, a community located within the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Defence correspondent Olajide Bello reports that the outreach programme held under the Civil-Military Relations Initiative is in line with the command philosophy of the Chief of Defence Staff, General Christopher Musa.
The sun decided to shine brighter at Paduma community as the Defence Civil Military Relations and the Defence and Police Officers Wives Association brought vital health services and essential supplies directly to the doorsteps of the people, many of whom lack easy access to basic health care and social support. According to the Defence Headquarters, the initiative is part of ongoing efforts to promote peace, stability and mutual trust between the armed forces and communities across Nigeria. By prioritizing humanitarian efforts alongside security operations, the military hopes to deepen public cooperation, which is crucial in addressing internal security challenges.
The Chief of Defence Staff, General Christopher Musa, takes humanity and human security as one of his focal points. So noting that the world celebrates the World Humanitarian Day worldwide today, he made it a point of duty for us to identify a community and send palliatives to them, just to show them love, to show them empathy.
By the time you show love, others copy what you're doing. And if we live with love, then the world goes around, there's peace.
Especially these soldiers, they have been trying for us. If there's any emergency, we normally call them and they'll assist without delay or wasting time. They are trying.
I feel very, very fine because my eye is paining me. Today they give me eyeglass.
The Paduma outreach stands as a testament to the Defence Headquarters' commitment to national unity, peace building and inclusive development. Olajide Bello, NTA News.
Let's turn our attention to other news now. The Nigeria Governors Forum is strengthening partnerships with key players across sectors to trigger economic activities through project financing that will secure credible investment opportunities for states. This is gradually coming to fruition at the official launch of Investopedia as a pool of investment vehicles to deepen and widen cash inflows for rapid growth and transformation. Abubakar Akwanga reports.
From the center of the organized private sector in Lagos, Nigeria, to the Asian commercial city of Kano, and from the oil-rich state of Rivers to the food basket in Benue, the potential goes beyond geopolitical spread. Now, Chairman Nigerian Governors Forum Abdulrazak Abdurrahman said 36 state governors under the initiative of Investopedia are pioneering and steering the wheel of investment within and outside the country for sustainable economic growth and development.
To serve as a one-stop for investors, providing credible, transparent, and curated pipelines of projects across all the 36 states of the Federation. It is not just a catalog, It is an entry point showing investors not only where to invest, but also how to invest in Nigeria.
We are no longer just discussing potential, but presenting bankable pathways for global, African, and domestic capital to flow into our states. The prosperity that will follow in jobs, infrastructure, and inclusive growth.
Captains of industry and accomplished business partners described the move as inspiring in driving a thorough process that will open a new vista of investment at subnational, through continental and global trade frameworks.
The Aspect Initiative convenes governors, premiers, mayors, and other sub-sovereign leaders across the African continent to facilitate the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement.
Like the United States, Nigeria's strength comes from our states and local communities. Also, we establishing resilient healthcare programs.
Unlocking private and public capital in utilizing resources, a catalyst for building solid infrastructure and creating millions of jobs for the future, as aptly captured in the theme Nigeria's Investment Gateway. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
Efforts at tackling illicit financial flows have been ramped up with the launch of the Nigerian Illicit Finance Resilience Project in Abuja. Nneka Oko reports that the initiative, spearheaded by the African Network for Environment and Economic Justice and NIJ, has the buy-in of other relevant stakeholders. The project targets the corruption, money laundering and terrorism financing that drains billions from the nation's economy.
Experts say illicit financial flows remain a major barrier to Nigeria's development, depleting resources meant to energize key sectors of the nation's economy. The meeting of the Nigerian Illicit Finance Resilience Project in Abuja, NIJ, gives its impression of the situation.
Illicit financial flows are not abstract statistics. They represent stolen opportunities, lost revenues in cash and kind, opportunities to build schools, hospitals, roads, jobs, and the chance to address security challenges.
Despite this grim reality, Nigeria has made strides in tackling financial crimes, recovering significant assets through frameworks like the United Nations Convention Against Corruption and international agreements. But like a stubborn weed, challenges persist. The country's placement on the Financial Action Task Force grey list in 2023 highlighted deficiencies in its anti-money laundering and counter-terrorism financing frameworks. Since then, Nigeria has addressed 13 of 15 action items, including establishing a beneficial ownership registry and improving interagency cooperation. This readjustment may position it for a potential exit from the grey list following an upcoming assessment. Yet, the scale of problem demands more robust action to tackle these gaps.
As you know, the Anti-Corruption Agency plays a major role to stop illicit financial flow. And one of our key goals of this project is to see how we can help with technical assistance and strengthen the capacity of the Anti-Corruption Agency.
NIJ expressed optimism the project will strengthen partnerships, clarify roles, and provide a roadmap in tackling illicit financial flows, thereby contributing to Nigeria's economic resilience. In Abuja, Nneka Oko, NTA News.
Nigerians are being encouraged to key into the various opportunities made possible by President Bola Tinubu's Renewed Hope initiative in various sectors of the economy. These are the views of different speakers during the sensitization campaign of the two-year administration of President Bola Tinubu, organized by the Federal Information Resource Center, Calabar, Cross River State, South-South Zonal Headquarters. Paul Abel reports.
Although some of the reform policies of President Bola Tinubu may bring temporary discomfort, but has long-term benefits to the nation. This is the reason head of the center, Federal Information Resource Center, Calabar, Jane Darkham, represented highlights some of the measures by President Tinubu to cushion the removal of fuel subsidy, to include expansion of social support to 15 million households on conditional cash transfer, 1 million small businesses receiving nano grants, and revenue generation. Other milestones recorded in the South-South include infrastructure, Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway, healthcare access, energy and oil sector reform, among others.
There will be crackdown on illegal oil bunkering and investment in modular refineries to harness our region's resources.
There were other presentations on economic diversification and local content creation, how to access student loan scheme, NELFund, among others.
NELFund has fully digitalized the student loan application system to streamline the processing and disbursement of student loans.
Creative innovations to young persons. We've actually made programs and initiatives who have made young persons become entrepreneurs.
Compressed natural gas is a strong component that will bring about sustainable industrialization.
This government is a good government and I've been a partaker of it, and we should just hope that better things are coming.
There was also a discussion section where questions and answers on the benefits of accessing various federal government programs and grants and the flexible payment plans were brought to bear. In Calabar, Paul Abel, NTA News.
In the meantime, the 2025 National Summit, organized by the Integrity Group of Nigeria, has ended in Abuja with a call on Nigerians to continue supporting the renewed hope agenda of President Bola Tinubu as a means of deepening reforms and consolidating on the current administration's achievements. Dennis Temple reports that the Integrity Group is one of the support groups of the All Progressives Congress, APC.
Fact. Renewed hope for continuity. The high-level summit convened in Abuja brought together stakeholders from across Nigeria's political and development landscape, from all 36 states and the FCT, for All Progressive Congress and private sector came to reflect, to strategize, and to engage. The agenda is very simple: national development priorities, economic reform strategies, and strengthening structures of good governance.
We stand as a group on integrity. I crave your indulgence, whether you are a Christian or a Muslim, to take a minute or two to pray for our country, to pray for our president, to ask for those that are in authority, because that's what the Bible says.
The country economy has been stabilized. What we are now looking at is the next stage. How do we now bring the dividends of the stability of the economy to ameliorate the sufferings of the people?
The market has stabilized. Food commodities and prices have coming down. I'm not saying that are still where they are supposed to be, but the CNG buses and the taxis and the keke napep are there. But the unfortunate thing is that instead of Nigerians to be patriotic, to help common Nigerians, when they find an opportunity, they cash out.
Dr. Oke Dawani, like many at the summit, pointed to early signs of measurable progress under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's renewed hope agenda, saying a policy framework that is still evolving is already gaining traction.
The Renewed Hope Initiative is on the right direction. People in my hometown have been from the Renewed Hope Initiative programs. Everybody is feeling the impact. Even the coppers, they can testify.
He's bringing back hope. He's taking the bull by the horn. He's not referring to issues in the past or how the past was governed. He promised Nigerians that he will come to the saddle and take responsibility. That he has done.
The summit acknowledged efforts by the administration in tackling persistent challenges, particularly in economic recovery. One of the key moments was the official unveiling of a summary compendium. As Nigeria continues to navigate its economic and social terrain, forums like this, they say, reflect a growing consensus that sustained reform and unified political will are essential for long-term progress. In Abuja, Dennis Temple, NTA News.
Now, the Federal Capital Territory Administration has resolved to sustain the ongoing city cleanup of miscreants and other undesirables under the exercise codenamed Operation Sweep. This is the fallout of the FCT Security Committee meeting held at the FCT Minister's official residence in Abuja. In this report, Onoze Yakubu brings us up to speed on the outcome of the meeting chaired by the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike.
Operation Sweep was set up to rid the nation's capital city of all forms of nuisance. This FCT security meeting is to assess the pains and gains of the exercise. Briefing the media after the meeting, the FCT Commissioner of Police, Ajao Sakadewale, reiterated the need to sustain the momentum with emphasis on clearing all shanties, beggars, and destitute posing threats to lives. He says the FCT minister has given a directive to shut down all illegal mining sites springing up in the territory, while IDP camps will now be profiled.
As we speak, more than 273 destitutes are in the SDS Center, Buhari, undergoing profiling, where taken care of, but they will need to be relocated to where they belong. Within the same period, more than 670 vehicles were impounded, leading to issue of improper documentation, tinted glasses, which we all know that is not acceptable here, issue of covered number plate, and issue of operating without appropriate authority. We are going to operate Uber, join Uber, we are going to operate both, do both. But you want to do all this K2 thing that is creating a problem of this one chance. Many of them are arrested. We have nothing less than 675 of them.
The FCT police boss further reveals that moving forward, traffic offenders will henceforth be dealt with decisively. Onoze Yakubu, NTA News.
We now join our correspondent Onotu Yakubu, who is standing by to bring us further updates. Onotu, hello. What specific measures are the FCTA taking to ensure that the cleared shanties do not get rebuilt and become hubs for further criminal activities?
You, Dennis, you must agree with me that the challenge of shanties, the clearing rather of shanties in the FCT is as old as the Federal Capital Territory's quest for development into the city it has evolved to be today. The challenge with this this situation had been that successive efforts in the past, usually just goes to these locations, clear them, and then leave the lands, free, and then, of course, create room for these occupants and then developers of these shanties to come back and rebuild, not just rebuild, but even go as far as even expanding beyond what it used to be. Presently, I am standing at the popular UTC in Area 10, just a couple of meters from behind the Cyprian Equincy Center. And it is one of the locations where the Operation Sweep had been able to clear. And not just clear this time around, what we're seeing across the Federal Capital Territory, especially across the city center where these operations are taking place, is not just the clearing, but reclaiming of these spaces. Where I am, for those who are familiar with this environment, and then this behind where the location is, it used to be one filled with shrubs behind me, but these trees are now have been taken down. And not just taken down, part of efforts to particularly reclaim this place and ensure that it does not go back to what it used to be is the fact that there is an ongoing fencing of the land, in fact, completely fencing the land to reclaim it for either the FCT administration's use or private occupation, and to a large extent bring succor to the of regrouping of these miscreants, suspected miscreants that used to use this place as heaven to, hide and then come out to commit one crime or the other and then retreat back to such facilities for cover. So there is deliberate efforts now, not just with the operation to clear out these shanties, they are being cleared, and at the same time, there is also effort to secure these spaces by fencing them and then probably, of course, even channeling them to more productive use for the benefit of the FCT and the entire nation at large. So
All right, Onotu, many thanks for that update, and we certainly hope that these efforts will be sustained and we'll see the back for good of the miscreants. Let's now join Adiola Kamiakere in our Lagos studio for the next set of reports. Hello, Adiola, it's over to you.
Thank you, Dennis, and welcome to Lagos. Individuals and organizations through this year's Humanitarian Day are uniting to support aid workers driven by the theme strengthening global solidarity and empowering local communities to enhance disaster response, access to essential services, and to save lives. Adejoke Odeka will tell us more about it.
I didn't know what happened. Before I knew it, I was shivering. Thank God for them. Because
for every war or disaster that happens in the world, there's always a person or a team around to cushion the effect on human lives. They are called humanitarians, the unsung heroes who bring hope and relief to those in desperate need. Now, imagine a world without them in existence.
Oh, a world without humanitarian workers will be a very dark, bleak world. They should be around us because not everybody now that can afford hospital.
Despite their vital contributions, humanitarians face daunting challenges, including attacks, funding constraints, and impact of climate change. However, experts say strengthening protection and securing sustainable funding can help mitigate some of these challenges.
Local communities can actively participate in humanitarian activities by also providing, their skills, providing resources. They put themselves at great risk, personal risk, to serve vulnerable members of the society.
We as citizens or individuals, be it in our mosques, in our churches, in our market areas, we need to always be creating that awareness and to also participate in the acts of ensuring that most of these challenges are addressed.
Experts are also of the opinion that by promoting safety, ensuring security, and sustaining funding, local and international communities can empower aid workers to continue saving lives. Their work is a testament to the power of compassion and the importance of standing in solidarity with those in need. In Lagos, Adejoke Odeka, NTA News.
Gender-based violence can be a very excruciating experience for victims, with many needing psychological support to heal from their traumatic experiences, from physical to emotional torture. Efforts to change this unwanted narrative, experts say, rely majorly on reporting and public enlightenment on the harmful effects on the society. Joe Popola has the report.
Gender-based violence is a thorny issue the nation has been grappling with. Reports from various law enforcement agencies and non-governmental organizations reveal that there are numerous cases of attacks on vulnerable persons by their spouses, which has claimed more than 10 lives this year alone. This is not limited to physical abuse, as in some cases, the aggressors inflict emotional torture, which has far-reaching impact on mental health. In Lagos, the Domestic and Sexual Violence Agency has been working to change this unwanted narrative through synergy with major stakeholders, but breaking the culture of silence, experts say, is essential to achieve the desired impact.
We can't afford to continue to play the ostrich. We can't afford to continue to act as if it's not happening. We believe that we are gradually breaking the culture of silence in Lagos. If you look at our data, we see that we are recording steady increase of formal and informal reporting of cases.
The police has an active unit on gender violence, which has been reviewing and responding to reported cases.
And lots of reports. The issue is, do they follow through? We have a problem in that regard. People come forward to report, and when it's time to go testify in court, some people back out. So we need to sensitize people. We've been doing that, but we need to sensitize people more on the need to follow through with the prosecution.
That only concerted and consistent efforts will end the anomaly. In Lagos, Joel Bukbola, NTA News.
Those are the reports from Lagos. Nationwide continues in Kaduna after the break.
Thanks for rejoining us here in Abuja. We will try to get to our Kaduna Network Center subsequently. The Court of Appeal Abuja Division has affirmed the status of the appellate court as final arbiter to hear and determine all labor matters. The clarification came to the fore as the Intermediate Court dismissed an application by the Kogi State government to obtain a stay of execution on a judgment which was given in favor of former Kogi Deputy Governor Simon Achuba, that the Kogi State government should pay 1.07 billion naira salary arrears owed to him while in office.
Just as the Court of Appeal held in this ruling this morning, counsel should learn to, first of all, look at what the law says before taking any brief from any client, no matter how juicy that brief is. What is the position of the law? You have to advise your client on what the law says.
It ordered counsel to the Kogi State government to pay 3 million naira to the respondent Simon Achuba before any further step is taken on the matter, saying the counsel apparently did not guide his clients properly on the matter. And the Federal High Court sitting in Abuja has fixed 10th September 2025 for ruling on a bail application filed by the Defense Counsel in the terrorism trial of suspects of the 2022 attack on a Catholic church in Owo, Ondo State. Chukwunonso Nwabweze reports that the court also granted the prosecution counsel's witnesses protection application.
At commencement of the day's proceedings, the prosecution counsel Callistus Eze informed the court that Ayodeji Adedipe, senior advocate of Nigeria, has appealed for the fiat of the Attorney General of the Federation to take over the matter as the lead prosecution counsel, prompting his application for an adjournment to ensure the completion of the process. He also prayed the court to grant a motion ex parte on witness protection filed on the 14th of August 2024 in pursuant to Section 73, subsections 1, 2, 3, and 4 of the Terrorism Prevention and Prohibition Act 2022. Without any objection by the defense counsel Abdullahi Muhammad, the trial judge, Justice Emeka Nwite, granted the prosecution counsel's prayer. On the issue of motion on notice for bail application filed on the 11th of August 2025, the defense counsel informed the court of their willingness to go on with the motion despite receiving a counter affidavit from the prosecution counsel. He urged the court to grant bail to the 5 defendants on the grounds that he is supporting his motion with 2 paragraphs of affidavit deposed to by a litigation secretary in his law firm, alleging that more than 3 years since the arrest of the defendants, he nor their relatives have been able to have access to them as against what was granted by the court. The prosecution counsel, while objecting to the bail application, argued that the defendants and their applicants have not presented to the court sufficient grounds upon which the court should rule in their favor. Justice Emeka Nwite, after taking the counsel's submissions, adjourned the matter to the 10th September 2025 for ruling on the bail application.
We are moving. It's good. If it had been like this since about 3-4 years they've been kept, perhaps we would have finished this case.
These people have been accused of belonging to a foreign terrorist organization. You cannot just allow them to roam the streets. We need to protect our country. That is why we have said they shouldn't be granted bail, because we don't know the length that they may have access to.
The 5 defendants accused of masterminding the 2022 attack on St. Francis Catholic Church, Owo, Ondo State, are facing terrorism charge preferred against them by the federal government. Chukwunonso Nwabweze, NTN News.
Elsewhere, the Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC, has formally taken over the Lumina 2030 initiative from the Federal Ministry of Education in a move designed to ensure sustainability and long-term impact. A 5-day program to enable smooth takeover of the Lumina 2030 UBEC migration and establishment agenda is currently underway in Abuja. Launched in March 2025 with support from the World Bank and Agile, Lumina 2030 is a national drive to educate and economically empower at least 1 million underserved Nigerian girls by 2030. The program integrates schooling with skills training, caregiver support, and community engagements, addressing root causes of exclusion such as poverty, cultural barriers, and lack of opportunities. With its transition to UBEC, the initiative is now fully aligned with Nigeria's education transformation agenda and UBEC's 10-year roadmap.
Within UBEC, we ensure that it will not fade away, but endure a lasting legacy.
It offers an opportunity for deeper collaboration with stakeholders, more flexible operation, and enhanced capacity to mobilize resources and deliver impact.
The Commission pledges strong partnerships with state governments, civil society, the private sector, and local communities with emphasis on accountability and measurable impact. Meanwhile, the process of implementing the much talked about dual mandate of degrees and national certificates of education has commenced with a national summit in Abuja on its operationality. The mandate is being spearheaded by the National Commission for Colleges of Education Committee of Provosts and the trade unions. Here's the report.
It's colleges of education partnered with universities to offer degree programs. And this does not come without its challenges. However, the story is set to change. Today, with full legislative backing and the Federal Colleges of Education Establishment Act No. 43 of 2023, signed into law by President Bola Tinubu, colleges of education now have the autonomy to run NCE and degree programs concurrently, with the aim of producing graduates well equipped to meet the education needs of the society.
This summit provides the ideal platform to reflect, dialogue, and the exchange of ideas among policymakers, academics, and practitioners.
The significance of this reform cannot be overstated. It will expand access for student teachers while producing graduates with both NCE and BEd qualifications, thereby making them more competent and versatile.
This innovative approach has the potential to increase access to quality education, improve lecturers, teachers' quality, and promote national development.
We may encounter practical challenges on the field challenges. For the National Assembly, we are always there, as we have always done.
To commemorate the implementation of the dual mandate system, awards of recognition were presented to the Ministers of Education and the Governor of Niger State for their commitment in advancing teacher education in Nigeria.
All right, Comfort Saim is in our Enugu Network Center for the next set of reports. Hello, Comfort. Over to you.
Please and welcome to Enugu Network Center. To mitigate and reduce the impact of flood on human and environment, there is need for a multifaceted commitment from relevant stakeholders and residents of flood-prone areas. This was the submission of stakeholders at a flood awareness campaign organized for Banko community in a Niri local government area, one of the flood-prone communities in Enugu State. The report is here presented.
Flood is a natural disaster which has adverse effects that can result to the loss of lives and property. To mitigate the effects of flood on prone areas, the Nigerian Red Cross Society, in collaboration with other stakeholders, organized flood sensitization exercise for the people of Okbanko community in Aniri local government area to enlighten them on safety measures such as moving to higher land and raising alarm on early warning signs of flood in their area. The program coordinator, Gloria Kwayanga, the International Federation of Red Cross of Nigeria, and other stakeholders from Enugu State say the exercise is to bring all the stakeholders together to help in the preparation for early evacuation to prevent the adverse effect of flood disaster.
This is more or less like an early warning, early action that the communities need to take when flooding is anticipated in their communities. So we are doing this simulation to make sure that the stakeholders have all their equipment ready.
What we are here doing today is to show them practically in a kind of drama on how to protect themselves whenever there is floods.
Members of the community commended the stakeholders for the visit, which acquainted them with the prerequisite skills and knowledge to combat flood. The Red Cross is a humanitarian organization that provides emergency assistance and disaster relief to those in need. In Nigeria, the Nigerian Red Cross Society, NRSC, works closely with the International Committee of the Red Cross to deliver essential services.
The Director General, National Youth Service Corps, NYSC, Brigadier General Olekunle Nafiu, says the scheme, through the one-year program, has remained a veritable tool to promote national unity and develop skills among youth while fostering development of Nigeria. The DG was speaking during a visit to the NYSC temporary orientation camp in Udi, Enugu State. Chimaroke Ugu reports.
To General National Youth Service Corps, Brigadier General Olakunle Nafiu was at the orientation camp for an on-the-spot assessment of the facility to interact with corps members and to reaffirm the federal government's commitment to the safety and welfare of corps members during their service here. The DG urged the corps members to take advantage of the skill acquisition and entrepreneurship development initiative of NYSC to achieve self-reliance during and after the one-year program.
Government places premium on youth and leadership development to build this critical mass that will reason and plans towards reviving our economy, reviving our educational sector, and building a better and greater nation.
The state coordinator of NYSC in Enugu commended the efforts of the Director General for improved welfare of corps members and staff across the nation. She also applauded Governor Peter Mba's unwavering support towards the success of the scheme in Enugu.
Your presence here exemplifies your steadfast commitment to one of your core policy trusts, ensuring the welfare of corps members and staff across the country. This set of corps members have demonstrated a commendable eagerness to embrace mentorship and integrate into the NYSC scheme.
The National Youth Service Corps has remained a platform for young graduates to contribute to nation building. In Enugu, Chimaroke Ugu, NTA News.
All right, we'll try and get Makurdi in our subsequent bulletin. Let's now take you to our top story, where the report is now ready. Nigeria is hoping to expand its $1 billion trade volume with Japan as it also leads the African agenda to the 2025 Tokyo International Conference on African Development, TICAD. President Bola Tinubu, in his first appearance, is leading Nigeria's delegation to the 9th edition of the conference, opening on Wednesday in Yokohama. Here is State House correspondent Musbah Danmahab.
Japan-Africa partnership born in 1993 is set to witness a new approach toward addressing developmental issues on the Black continent. Under the TICAD's 9 blanket theme, co-create innovative solutions with Africa, the parties aim to reaffirm commitment to the long-term collaborations with focus on Africa's economic transformation and improvements in the business environment and institutions through private investment and innovation.
In the case of Nigeria,
in the decades of bilaterals, Japan-Nigeria partnership has manifested in the agricultural and power sectors with trade volume at about $1 billion.
And of course, Nigeria exports huge amounts of hydrocarbons to Japan. So we're looking to expand that. You need an industrial base, which is what Nigeria is trying to achieve, which is what President Tinubu is committed to. And that way we can create those jobs for our teeming youths, tackle the issue of unemployment, and of course the macroeconomic reforms of President Tinubu are already in progress, and we're beginning to feel the positive effects.
Continental and global politics are also at stake, as Nigeria is hoping for the support of the third largest economy in the world as it aims to strengthen its leading role in Africa with aspiration for seats in global organs, including the United Nations Security Council.
So that it leads the way in providing that restructuring of the global financial architecture so that the whole continent would benefit, so that Africa would benefit, and we need to be on the decision-making tables of the world, which is why we need that position in the United Nations Security Council.
President Bola Tinubu in Yokohama is expected to lead African Voice at the conference in addition to bilaterals and meetings with chief executive officers of some Japanese companies with investments in Nigeria. In Yokohama, Musbao and Wahab, NT News.
All right, we can now join our Makadi Network Center. Here is Fatima Hassan. Hello, Fatima.
Dennis, and thanks for joining us in Makudi. Journalists in Benue State have received improved oil palm seedlings, courtesy of the state governor, Hyacinth Alia. The initiative is aimed at sustainable economic intervention that will create jobs, boost industrial growth, and strengthen household income. Blessing Omeche Ebute has details.
Since the inception of the present administration, Benue State Governor Hyacinth Alia has demonstrated a commitment to improving agriculture in the state through various initiatives. These include providing subsidized farm inputs, streamlining market practices, and investment in climate-smart agricultural practices. The distribution of improved palm seedlings to journalists in Benue State is in fulfillment of the governor's commitment in transforming the state from the food basket of the nation into the industrial basket of Nigeria.
For sure, this vision is no distant. We transform Benue into a leading hub for oil palm production and lift thousands of families out of poverty.
Governor Hyacinth Alia, while commending journalists in the state, urged them to always uphold truth and objectivity in their reportage.
In conjunction with your leadership, many more palm trees will be provided you for a brighter future of yours and your economy. To us, it is a way of cushioning our economy, beginning with your pockets.
Governor Alia announced several interventions for the NUJ, which include the settlement of the union's outstanding 12 million naira dues to its national body, renovation of the NUJ house in Makudi, with the provision of a utility bus to ease the union's mobility challenges, and also the consideration of weigh-in allowances for journalists in government-owned media organizations. The governor immediately made good on his promise with a donation of an 18-seater bus to the union, which was presented to the chairman, Bendo Ugbe, by the chief press secretary to the governor, Teso Kula, at the government house. In Makudi, Blessing Omeche Ebute, NTA News.
And that's our contribution from Makudi. It's back to Dennis in Abuja.
Many thanks, Fatima. Now for stories from the world of sports, let's join Olumide Eguntola on Sports Update.
Nigeria's D Tigers will face West African rival Senegal in a highly anticipated quarter-final showdown at the 2025 FIBA Afrobasket after the Lions sealed their place with a hard-fought playoff victory over South Sudan. Nigeria head into the clash after sweeping their group with 3 straight victories, including 99-90 victory over Cameroon. Nigeria vs Senegal quarter-final clash is scheduled for Wednesday. In football, Nigeria's home-based Super Eagles face a decisive test against Congo in their final group stage match at the ongoing African Nations Championship CHAN Tuesday. The Eritrean Eagles are going to the contest under intense pressure after back-to-back defeats to Senegal and Sudan. Meanwhile, Congo remains unbeaten after 2 consecutive draws.
This is the time for this guy. They need to show their quality and know the bad things.
In another development, in one of the largest youth gymnastic meets in Southern Africa, Team Nigeria, which includes NLNGRA and TIG International Club, excelled at the Centurion Gymnastics Center Club competition. Oluwapelumile Sami of NLNGRA won gold, describing her victory as a dream come true. Team TIG also won 2 gold, 5 silver and a bronze medal at the event.
I'm very happy and shocked that I won. The kids did so well. Ayobami and Juan, they did so well. I am truly very grateful.
In tennis, Aryna Sabalenka commands the WT rankings for yet another week, heading into US Open. Sabalenka has 11,225 points to her name at the moment. Iga Swiatek won the Cincinnati Open title without dropping a set, thus rising to number 2. Swiatek's rise to number 2 pushes Coco Gauff down a spot to number 3. With sports update, Olumide Eguntola, NT News.
Well, that concludes Nationwide. Many thanks for watching. I am Dennis Adegunloye.